my time coming, so I gotta be relentless. Been going crazy, I ain't really got no limits. Got my foot on the gas, cause I'm so driven. Yeah, I keep my bags packed just in case a nigga trippin'. A little underrated, but I'm out here doing big shit.
Hey yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy Xavier Elite, and today we're gonna be talking about some of my favorite fights in anime, bro. I discussed some of my favorite arcs. I did some debates, but I ain't talking about my favorite fights like that. So that's something we're gonna do today. You feel me? Let's go. Now, when it comes to fights in anime, me personally, I'm a sucker for when they really be boxing and throwing hands for real. Not like the one-sided scenes where a nigga will throw a punch and like, and then the nigga get back up and throw another punch and it's like, I like it when niggas really be like, you know, like real hand-to-hand combat. That's what, that shit turn me on when I'm watching anime, I'm not gonna lie. Not to be weird. But yeah, let's jump in. I'm finna talk to y'all about mine. I'm not ranking them, I'm just throwing them out there. Now, I've mentioned in previous, I'm gonna start off number one. I've mentioned in previous videos, my favorite arc and my favorite fight of all time is Goku versus Cell. So you already know, you already saw that coming, I'm sure. But yeah, because I have respect for that fight so much because Goku's reputation at the time was high. It was like, this was his first time seeing him at the time chamber, and Cell's in his perfect form, and we ain't see that dude fight for real yet. So they started off there as play fighting a little bit, and then the next episode started and these niggas was really going in. I'm like, oh! Then to take it even further, after that commercial break, them niggas started boxing even more. So I'm like, wow, this is heat. I was a 13-year-old, I was a little 10-year-old going crazy, bro. I was hella hype. Next up, my next favorite fight I got on the list is Luffy versus Lucci from One Piece. Bro, that whole arc was crazy and impactful, but that fight stood for so much. It was, I don't know, so much went into it. It was insane, and I truly loved it for real. I don't know. I feel like it's hard to describe these things to people who haven't seen One Piece. You're gonna watch One Piece one day, and you're gonna understand the factors. One Piece knows how to build up fights. That's the thing. Yeah, One Piece knows how to build up fights for real and grab you emotionally. So when it's time for these dudes to really throw hands and fight for real, that makes the fight so much more impactful and better, in my opinion, no cap. And One Piece gave us multiple mini fights, no cap, each and every arc. Like Luffy versus Katakuri, Luffy versus Doflamingo. I'm just naming ones with Luffy, to be honest. We're not gonna act like Zoro, Sanji. The rest of the crew don't have like a fight too. It goes crazy each and every arc. There's one major fight you could get from there that's just fire. Yeah, alright, next up on the list, I got Naruto versus Sasuke. The final fight though, the last fight though, the final fight in Naruto. Because that was them, in my opinion, they were really going at it at their best. Hand-to-hand combat beautifully. The taijutsu in that shit was beautiful. The ninjutsu in that shit was beautiful. And it really, in my opinion, it showed the growth that they had from their fights, for their first fight at the Final Valley. Because Sasuke was using the curse mark and Naruto was using Kurama's power, but not completely, and really didn't know how to use it for real. So when they fight again at this final time and they have like full mastery over their abilities, it's insane, in my opinion. And they were really going at it. That was an impactful fight as well too. The whole fucking show built up to that point, in my opinion. So of course they snapped on it. I mentioned this before, but I gotta throw up Gon and Hisoka in this conversation. It was crazy because Gon finally learned it was crazy because Gon finally learned how to use Nen. Hisoka's been that dude who is overpowered as hell for no reason. So you watch it, you like, what the hell is Gon finna do? Can he actually touch him? Can he actually punch him in the face this time? And that dude Gon was really in there swinging for real. He did. And he got that punch in the face. So that shit was fire, in my opinion. 100%. Next up, I have Ed from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood versus Greed. I have that on there. I'm sure there probably was better fights on Full Metal Alchemist, in my opinion, but I don't know. That was one I caught myself rewatching a lot because I was like, oh. And my thing with Full Metal Alchemist, I feel like Ed is an amazing MC, an amazing main character, and I love his art style. I think he looks like amazing, and his dub voice was fire. I liked it. He was just a perfect character, in my opinion, and I feel like I'd have him way higher up on my list if I saw him have a little bit more fights, in my opinion. He did have a bunch of them and he did do his thing, but if we saw Ed really just like, fuck this shit, how can you really just start boxing all the time? That dude would be talked about way more when we talk about goated fight discussions like we are right now. Now I'm gonna take it down a little bit. We're gonna talk about some classics like Yu Yu Hakusho. Yu Yu Hakusho's whole fucking anime gave us nothing but great fights. So I don't feel like it's fair to throw it in this discussion, but just in case, we got Yusuke versus Toguro, which was very impactful as well, which was a great fight, great build up. Next up, I'm gonna switch it up. You're gonna talk about Samurai Champloo. That anime is amazing, bro. One of the best soundtracks in anime. I love the whole dynamic that show has, its vibes when it goes to samurai in Japan, and then on the other hand, it's not talking about, but the fucking soundtrack is like hip hop and shit like that. I love it, bro. Shit is perfect. And they started that anime off with a bang because they gave us Gin versus Mugen in the first episode, which was an amazing fight. I remember watching that on Toonami for the first time as a child, and that shit blew my mind, bro. I was running up those views on YouTube. I had to see it again. That shit was fire, bro. Now another fight I got on my list. I got two fights on my list. They're coming from Black Clover. I got one, I'm gonna say Asta and Yuno versus Licked. Cause bro, I've read the manga and I read the fight and everything, and it was cool back then, but I didn't like see it animated, hear the music, and I couldn't get the chills from reading a manga chapter. But I watched it in the anime for the first time like a month ago, and bro, I was really at the edge of my seat, hype as hell. Like, for real, that scene was so amazing, and they were really boxing for real, and I was only like the beginning / middle of the arc, so I was like, we coming with some more shit, and they did. Black Clover delivered on fight scenes. We don't talk about it enough. And then next up, another fight I got from Black Clover, from the Spade Kingdom arc. We got Asta and Captain Yami versus Dante, bro. I was so hyped in that fight. Seeing how Asta and Yami fought together, it was just crazy. I feel like Asta's built up a reputation to that point where the whole team looks up to him in a way, and the whole team obviously looks up to the captain. So seeing them fight side by side was like, oh wow, this is real, bro. This is crazy. And then, but even in a fight, they still fought together with that teacher / student relate. You just gotta see it if that makes sense. But yeah, it was an amazing fight and definitely hype as hell in my opinion. Speaking of hype as hell, another fight I got on my list is from Fairy Tail. I got Sting and Rogue versus Natsu and Gajio, bro. That fight was insane. I feel like the build up to that point with the whole Dragon Slayer thing, that was insane. And then I also feel like that fight it was going back and forth with it. It was like, oh, we winning, oh, we're losing. And it was like, you couldn't tell what was going on. And then when Natsu got rid of Gajio, he was like, fuck it, I'm gonna take both y'all on by myself. I was like, oh, and that dude was getting to work too. That's what made it so fire in my opinion. Fairy Tail is peak, bro. That's why I be saying, go watch that shit for yourself. Don't take nobody's opinion, because Fairy Tail is literally one of my favorite animes of all time. No cap. But yeah, that was how I felt. I'm probably missing out on a bunch of fights, but when I'm talking about my personal favorites, and my personal favorites are shit that I usually run back to just to see hand-to-hand combat and boxing, that I'm gonna hop on YouTube right now and rewatch. You know, that's the thing I'm going for. So yeah. Alright, you guys, I'm gonna end the video off right here. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe for me. Let me know what are your favorite anime fights in the comments, and yeah, I'm out. Peace.